Our time in Florida this winter has been full of manatees. We first started out at Blue Springs State Park, where hundreds of manatees flock to in the winter. However, a burst of warm weather sent them out to the ocean, and so when we got there were none. We then saw manatees around the Flamingo Marina in the Everglades National Park. They were right off the boat dock, and the water wasn't very clear, but you could still see them when they would surface. On Pine Island, you can see them in the canals. My parents came to visit, and the canal right next to their hotel had tons of manatees in it. At one point, they counted at least 14 of them basking in the sun. So, with all of our manatee fun, we decided we are in Crystal River. We have booked a tour with Fun to Dive. Today, we are going to swim with manatees. Fun to Dive has a cute little gift shop where you can buy tons of manatee related items. They also have some changing rooms on site if you need for your wetsuit. Carl's first time putting on a wetsuit, put his foot in an arm. After our group was ready to go, we all loaded into a van for a short ride over to the marina, where we then took a short walk to our boat and headed out on Kings Bay. We checked a popular spot, but the captain decided to pass due to the amount of boats, and we went searching for our own manatees. We then spotted two and got ready to go in the water. We didn't have any sun today, and the water was really cold, at least to us. They gave you a mask and snorkel and a noodle. You aren't allowed to use flippers because it ruins the water clarity. At this spot, the visibility was very poor though. We stayed in the water for maybe 10 minutes and didn't see anything, and the manatees didn't want to be bothered by us, so we loaded back up. Our next spot already had a boat full of people in the water, and there were two manatees in this spring. The boat took one manatee while we focused on the other. The water here was slightly warmer as it was closer to the spring head, but still chilly. The visibility here was also not very good. Apparently this spring used to be clear, but was damaged from the hurricane. Having the water clarity be very poor made it very difficult to see more than a few feet in front of you. Oftentimes you could not see the manatee until you got right on top of it. It was very challenging not to run into each other, and we even booked the smaller tour which only had 2 other people. The larger tour next to us had 12 people in their group. Our guide did a great job of staying with the manatee and telling our group where it was at. If it weren't for her, we probably would have never seen it. Even when you are following with it, they don't move in a straight line, so it's easy to lose track of. It could care less that we were there, and oftentimes it ended up swimming right underneath us. When that happens, you basically freeze and try not to touch it. Sometimes it would bump into you though. We followed the manatee around for quite a while and watched it graze on the grass. Manatees are herbivores and they eat 10 to 15% of their body weight every day. That means a 1,000-pound manatee would be eating 100 to 150 pounds of plants every day, and you would probably be surprised to know that manatees only have 3 to 5% body fat. Even though they look like a big old tub of love, they are incredibly lean. I especially enjoyed watching its flippers as it looked like they were walking on the bottom floor. We also learned how the biggest threat to the manatee is actually cold. On this manatee, you can see white stripes along the sides. Those are due to cold stress. Manatees are very temperature sensitive since they do not have the excess fat and blubber to keep them warm. When the water dips below 68 degrees, they will lose body heat and essentially become hypothermic. This is why they seek out the ample springs in Florida, where the water is a constant 72 degrees. Our swimming with the manatee was so cool, and I really enjoyed how much time we got to spend with it. I also really appreciated how gentle they are and unfazed by us being in their space for such a long time. Once we were ready to head back, they served us hot chocolate on the boat, which was incredibly awesome because I was so cold I was shaking. Despite the water clarity being so poor, I still got a ton of great shots. What I didn't understand though is why the advertising of swimming with manatees always shows beautiful footage and crystal clear water. I ended up learning a little more on what to do to increase your chances of getting that picture perfect experience. And we ended up going back for a second tour.
It did get all the way down to 43 degrees on the way here. It's slightly warmer now, still less than 50 because I can see my breath.
Wow, was it cold outside, and the sunrise and the steam coming off the water made it super gorgeous. But this time, we were headed to Three Sisters Springs, the famous springs known for beautiful waters and where some manatees actually stay year round. It wasn't long before we saw our first manatee leaving the spring while we were still on the boat, and then when I got in the water, I immediately had one coming at me that I totally was not prepared for. I was feeling pretty good. So, to get into Three Sisters Springs, you actually have to swim up a narrow channel that can take a little bit of effort because of the current, but there is a rope to help you. This part of the experience was actually pretty cool because it feels like you're going on an adventure, and the water here was so pretty and crystal clear. Once we got into the spring, we immediately saw a manatee, a very large pregnant one, shortly followed by a mom and calf, which were just sitting on the bottom looking like giant rocks. But then those giant rocks moved. Everything was so perfect and beautiful here, and just our small group of 6 people were the only ones in this spring to enjoy it. It made it even more special. The manatees come in here because the water is warmer and there are refuges for them. There are boundary markers here above and below the water that indicate where humans are allowed to go, and it is illegal to cross those boundaries and enter the manatee refugee zones. Manatees spend a lot of their lives resting, only moving to surface for air every few minutes. Sometimes they will rest on the bottom, and sometimes they will rest floating on the top. The pregnant manatee, though, she was pretty active, almost doing laps, and she had no issues coming near us. And wow, did I get super great shots of her! Manatees are actually very curious and can sense a heartbeat from 6 to 8 feet away, so they know you are there and can choose to come near you or not. With the water clarity here being so great, it made it much easier to see them from far away and get great shots of them swimming around. As the time progressed, more and more tours started coming into the springs, making it pretty busy. So we left the springs and headed back out to where it was even more busier and full of other boats and kayaks. The water clarity out here wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as our first tour, but it wasn't as good as the springs we just came from. We saw several more manatees out here, and for a whole minute and a half, I watched one spin in a circle and then just randomly swim off. We had such a good time on this tour. We ended up stopping at Crystal River Visitor Center where they put out a daily manatee count. It said that there were 93 at Three Sisters Springs and 120 at Magnolia Springs, which were incredible numbers. So we decided to drive over to the Three Sisters Springs to get a top down view of where we just swam. Holy cow! Do you see all these? Oh my gosh. How many are there?
I don't even know how you count.
It's so incredible to see so many of them. So here is where we just went kayaking. We were one of the many people that are outside on the edges where the buoys are. That's considered sanctuary area, and it's a place where manatees know that they can go and they can rest without being bothered.
We were snorkeling actually.
What did I say?
Kayaking.
I said that? This manatee, two of them, they're swimming in this little channel here. And this is where we snorkeled earlier, through this little channel. Three Sisters Springs is literally one of the best places in our country. This is Idiot 2 side. Way more manatees on Idiot 1 side. Watching the manatees here was so amazing and was truly one of those moments in life that makes you put yourself aside and appreciate all the gifts and wonders that our planet shares with us. And swimming with manatees and seeing them underwater in their world is truly a magical experience. Even if you don't want to swim with them, coming to Three Sisters Spring and seeing them in the hundreds huddled together is such an amazing sight, worth your time to view such wonderful creatures. Thanks for watching.